So today we're going to talk about price conditioning. And price conditioning is so important because it is the very thing that's going to allow you to lock up a property way below what a seller would previously think that they would accept on one of their properties. Okay, so today is actually the fifth part of a five-part video series on how to lock up better deals, bigger deals, more deals on less of a marketing budget. And let me tell you, this will make or break you. My name is Todd Toback, and I've wholesaled a little bit more than 1,000 houses, and 95% of those were locked up by somebody on my team and not by me personally. And I specialize in transforming real estate hustlers into real estate business owners that own an asset that throws off cash month after month after month without their personal day-to-day involvement. Now, if you have not been over to my website, nextlevelwholesaling.com, you got to head on over there and take an assessment that I created specifically for you to rate yourself in the four core areas of your business. That's marketing, acquisition, disposition, and cash flow. And once you take this, it's going to take you like 2 minutes. It's going to be so eye-opening because it's going to give you really a clear path, that next step that you need to take to start to extract yourself, to transform yourself from real estate hustler to business owner, so that this thing is going to throw off cash month after month after month for you. It should serve you. So head on over to nextlevelwholesaling.com and download the assessment. So today let's talk about price conditioning. Now think about this for a second. Pretend like you're in a jam. Pretend like you're in a motivated seller's position and you'd like to sell your property, right? Never in a million years would you believe that you would sell a property of yours for 50 cents on the dollar. Right? Well, if you wouldn't do it, why would somebody else do it? Right? At no point, at least from my experience, most sellers don't sell houses to wholesalers, real estate wholesalers, because they are ignorant. Right? They don't sell to us because they don't know the values. As a matter of fact, I would say the vast majority of sellers know exactly what their property is worth. So why do they sell at a discount? Well, they got in a jam. Right? And at some point, they had to accept, they had to understand, they had to come to terms, they had to let it marinate that, you know what, now is the time. I'm just going to do it, and I'm going to call this person from this postcard, and I'm going to take my medicine, and I'm going to sell for a discount because I just can't deal with it anymore. Okay? So, how do you get sellers to that point? The point of capitulation, where they say, hey, you know what, I need this person's help, right? Now, if you are obviously a solopreneur, you want to learn this, but if you are building a team, which I hope you are, right, you've got to learn this, right? It's very, very, very important to teach price conditioning so that you can now move sellers along the process and you can marinate them and prepare them now to accept your offer. By the way, I talk about this in detail in our no limit sales system. Check this out, nolimitsalessystem.com. I got some more videos there for you. If you want to know more about this training or go in depth, head on to nolimitsalessystem.com. All right, so let me tell you a story. So my son Brogan, he is 9 years old as of the time of this video, and we did a sprint triathlon this summer. And he was by far the youngest person. This was up in Santa Barbara. And I actually had to get a special exception for him to be able to do the race. And the one thing that I was really concerned about was when we were doing the ocean swim, that there was a lot of people, like a lot of splashing and, moving around and people hitting each other. And I'm like, is he going to be mentally ready for this, right? And so I said, you know what? And my wife's like, I don't want him to do it. That's too scary. Water's cold, it's dark. A lot of people, he's only 9, no way. And I said, Marianne, I will prepare him. I will prepare him mentally and I will prepare him physically. So 2 or 3 days a week during that summer, this is last summer, I jumped him in the pool, I had him in the pool, and while he was swimming, I dunked him and I splashed water in his face and I swam on top of him, and I was really rough, a lot of horseplay, and I held him underwater for 15 seconds, all while explaining this to him, and I needed him very, very, very comfortable in the water. I had to prepare him. I said, people are going to be hitting you and running over you, and maybe you're going to, someone's going to hit their hand in your goggles, and that's really going to hurt. Maybe you're going to get kicked in the mouth, right? Maybe someone's going to scratch your back, right? And you're going to be bleeding a little bit, right? Like, this is what it is. And he's only 9, right? But I prepared him. I mentally prepared him. Well, long story short, we pulled up on that triathlon end of September, him and I, and he absolutely crushed the swim, right? People were running over him, people were hitting him, but he just dominated, right? He just got, and when he got out of the water, people couldn't believe it. I mean, everyone was cheering so loud. I was such a proud dad, but I was more proud actually of the way that we conditioned him, right? So why was he able to do that, right? Well, he was prepared for that because mentally, I had taken him through this exercise. I had prepared him. Now, if I would have done this, right, just like right before the race, right before the race, it wouldn't have worked, right? But it needed to marinate, right, over a period of days and weeks and months. And even my wife, I had to let this idea that she was going to do this triathlon marinate this in her head, right? So that when we start up that starting line, right, it was no big deal. Well, we have to do the same thing with sellers, right? A lot of times they're not going to be ready. And so if you just come at them with this really, really low price at the beginning and you do no conditioning, there's a good chance you're going to lose them. So how do you do that? Well, you kind of ease them into it. Okay, you price condition them. So one of the things that you can do when you're on the phone with a seller is do a soft pass, right? A soft pass. And if you can't get a number out of a seller, and by the way, I recommend asking 5 different ways from a seller on the number expecting, and if you can't get it, a number out of them, or even if you do, you want to use a technique called a soft pass. And what that is, it's a really, really low number, and you could give a little bit of a range, but it's really soft. So for example, let's assume the house, you know that you could pay $200,000, but you'd like to be able to buy it for $150,000. You could say, hey, I don't know, I see some investors there are paying maybe between $150,000 and $200,000. Is that even a range that you'd even consider, or probably not, right? Notice I did a little bit of a pull away there and a little bit of a price condition, right? By the way, I talked about the pull away in some of the other previous videos, right? So then you shut up and you listen, right? They say, well, I don't know, I'd really like more like 210 or 220. I understand. Well, I'll tell you what, would it be worth a conversation? I mean, I'm not saying that's exactly what I can pay. I'm just not really sure, but I'd have to get a better idea of the property condition before I gave you a firm offer. They say, great, come on over. Now, during that time, I've conditioned the seller that there's a possibility that I might be coming in with $150,000. All right, very, very important. And that's one of the ways that you price condition. Okay, now it's starting to marinate. Maybe they got a couple of days to think about it. Maybe they talk to their wife or spouse, and things are starting to now move along, right? That's the first step. Now, when you're at the property, I talked about this also in the No Limit Sales System. I talk about this. If you want to know more about these videos and get deeper into the techniques, head on over to NoLimitSalesSystem.com. Got a couple more free videos there for you, and you can learn more about the exact system that I'm talking about here. So when you go to a property, also I talked about looking at the condition, never arguing, never getting confrontational, but going over every imperfection that you can see, the roof, the window, the leaks, the door, the downspouts, whatever it is, and keep your mouth quiet, right? And just go, right? Go from there, okay? Now, if whatever reason, here's a little ninja tip that I actually haven't told anybody, is sometimes what I'll do is there's you have a file folder, and on the file folder what you can do is write the address of the property on the file folder, okay? And then on the outside, I've never shared this with anybody. I mean, it's like total rock star, okay? Write the address of the property on the file folder, and then write the word price range, and then write down like 120 to 150, right? And put a circle around it, right? Now, don't show this to the seller, right? Don't say a word, but what I would do is sometime during the conversation, leave the folder on the counter with the property address, and they will glance at it, and they will see it, and they will see the 120 on the 120 to 150 on this file folder, and they're going to be like, oh my God, right? They're going to see it, and that price is so low. Now, you didn't make that offer. You didn't give them that offer, but they see that this number that you wrote on a sheet of paper that wasn't meant for them to see. Okay, now let them think whatever they want. You don't have to tell any mistruths, but let them come to their own conclusions, right? They're kind of like their own snooping. Okay, so that's another way that you can price condition. I've never shared that with anybody. And so go around and have them understand that. Okay, now when it comes down to the price conditioning, is the negotiation starts, right? And you know that you could pay up to $200,000 for this thing, but what I would do is from the beginning condition 120, 130, 140, 150, and start there, and they understand it. So that way, by the end of this conversation, when all of a sudden you are able to come up to 180, 190 and still make 30 or 40 grand, guess what? Okay, they feel great about that deal. All right, little tiny little subtle things, right? Where they could do this. Now, if the seller says, "Hey, I saw this house down the block and I saw them sell it for 220." Now you got to re-anchor them. Okay, you got to reset that expectation. I totally get it. Normally in a neighborhood like this, I'd pay anywhere between 120, 150, maybe under extreme circumstance a little bit more. I'm not 100% sure what I can pay yet. You and I would have to talk about that, but let's continue, right? And don't argue, don't negotiate. Just let that sink in and re-anchor the seller there. Let him condition there over the next few hours. Ideally, you'd like to condition over a couple of days, but let it sink in. Let it sink in. That way, when you get to 180, you're really, really, really going to seal the deal, and they're going to feel great about that deal. So if you want to know more about this stuff, check out NoLimitSalesSystem.com, and you could download more videos or just purchase the program. If you're looking to extract yourself out of your business and get out of hustle mode, and you want to take that assessment, which I highly recommend, this sales stuff could be used for your acquisition specialist, which I hope mentally you're starting to either hire or getting there. Condition yourself to start to do that. Or if you're a solopreneur sharpening your skills, head over to nextlevelwholesaling.com, download the assessment, and really it's going to open your eyes. So head to nextlevelwholesaling.com if you want the system, NoLimitSalesSystem.com, and I'll see you on the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye.